Nerdrotic.com.
Greetings, you over 1 million hellions and the 40% who haven't subscribed yet. 5 years ago, in the before times, prior to the horrid government response to COVID, prior to the Summer of Love, prior to the Hollywood strikes and shutdown, a little film drop called Joker. A movie absolutely nobody asked for, which is essentially a solo origin story of a Batman villain who's never had one or needed one. And if you recall, prior to the film's release, it was quite controversial. And this had everything to do with the corporate access media who was trying to will something into existence by gaslighting the world and pushing the narrative that this film would somehow lead to incel violence.
Security concerns surrounding the new Joker movie, the FBI, the LAPD, among those taking action.
Concerned that the new Joker movie could be used as an excuse for a mass authorities are taking every precaution to keep moviegoers safe.
In New York, police were on high alert at a special screening at the Lincoln Center on Wednesday night. There was also heightened security here in LA.
When in truth, at the time, the only violence that was happening in movie theaters was for Frozen 2. Interestingly enough, that's the same corporate media just a few months later that was saying all the actual violence was mostly peaceful. But thanks to the controversy, it propelled a pretty damn good movie that we didn't know we needed, Joker, into the stratosphere, earning over $1 billion at the box office despite having some things going against it, including it being a rated R film, it wasn't released in China, and the top corporate critics, particularly on Rotten Tomatoes, giving it a 49%. Quick reminder, these are the corporate clowns who are constantly pushing the narrative that the audience lacks media literacy these days when they clearly showed their misperceived political bias. And Joker went on to win Academy Awards, including a well-deserved Best Actor award for Joaquin Phoenix. And on top of that, DC, along with Warner Brothers, that was still reeling from the Snyder-ocalypse, finally got a win. They captured lightning in a bottle. It's a shame Warner Brothers is America's dumbest company and didn't make that much money off it. No one can argue that a lot of people like the Joker, including yours truly, as a one-off, as an Elseworlds. It was a slow burn that led to an open ending that was meant to be debated till the end of time. Until now. Because Joker Folie, Deux, which I'm going to call Joker 2 for the rest of this video, answers a lot of those questions definitively. And now that I've seen it, it answers another big question. Did Joker need a sequel? No. Which sucks because I know, along with a lot of other people, I was looking forward to this one. And it's not to say it isn't well made. It's well shot, well directed, well acted. The score is good. Mind you, I said the score and not the musical bits because yes, it's a musical of sorts, and that's the worst part in it. I won't go as far as to say Joker 2 would have been good without the musical scenes, but it would have been better. It essentially turns into a musical court drama. Now, the first half of the film, we follow Arthur Fleck as he does his time in Arkham after being charged with 5 of the 6 murders he committed in the first film. And after a promising opening animated sequence set to the song Me and My Shadow, just like its predecessor, it looked like we were headed towards a slow burn that ended up fizzling out. And don't worry, there won't be any spoilers. Joaquin Phoenix does a fantastic job with what he is given while playing Arthur Fleck, who, for the vast majority of this film, is incarcerated, while trying to strategize his defense with his lawyer, played by Catherine Keener, who is really trying to push with Arthur and the prosecution that the Joker is a separate personality within Arthur Fleck. While in Arkham, he meets Lee Quinzel, who at one point is called Harley, played by Lady Gaga. Now, there were some rumors that Joker 2 would be from Harley Quinn's perspective, but that is not the case. This is an Arthur Fleck film. That being said, Lady Gaga did a good job playing Harley Quinn as she was meant to be portrayed, a fangirl who is obsessed with the Joker. And the rest of the cast isn't too shabby either. Brendan Gleeson as a slightly rapey Arkham guard, Harvey Dent's in it, and there's a great scene with little Gary from the first film. So if all this was good, what went wrong? Well, everything else. I like Todd Phillips as a director, and I understand what he was trying to do, and I even respect trying to do something a little different. But everything he did to build up Arthur Fleck into the Joker is completely undone. While the presence of the Joker is still there, we're right back to pathetic Arthur Fleck. The unreliable narrator is still in Joker 2. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's subtle, but most of the time I just didn't care because it wasn't as good as it was with Sophie in the first film. For example, with Lady Gaga's Lee Quinzel, there are times where she is acknowledged by characters in the film, and there are other times where it's questionable, and it's up to you to figure that out if you want to see it. Because those interesting moments are far and few between. Again, while the access media said the Joker would lead to incel violence, I can definitively say Joker 2 will lead to narcolepsy. That will occasionally and abruptly be interrupted with musical scenes that at their very worst are frustrating and at their very best are mid. The ones that aren't in Arthur's head are performed in a muted way, kind of like this.
I'm here with my dad, so I'm here now. I found you, Daddy. Guess what? I love you, I love you, I love you!
Wow, that was weird.
You know, I just realized that that could be the scene between Arthur and Thomas Wayne from The Joker. Anyway, the musical bits that are in Arthur's head are better, but the only memorable thing about them is the sets. And now that I come to think of it, the best word to properly describe Joker 2 is frustrating. And it's not just because every time this film feels like it's starting to go somewhere, they break into song and stop it dead in its tracks, when they could have used that time to do more with Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. And this is kind of a surprise because I would argue she's underused in this. No, the single most frustrating thing is the complete deconstruction of Arthur Fleck. Because essentially it's just Arthur facing the consequences of his actions playing the Joker. It's character assassination through character reversion. Arthur Fleck is right back where he was at the beginning of the first movie. And I understand that's the entire point of the film, and I also understand it didn't work for me at all. This brings us to the predictable ending that they gave away pretty early on. Something Todd Phillips himself knew would divide fans. And I think he's right. People will be talking about this one. Unfortunately for Warner Brothers, not as many as they'd like. Because it looks like Joker 2's early ticket sales are right on par with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Dysentery and The Flash. Oof. And considering the budget for Joker 2 was exactly $145 million more than its predecessor, things aren't looking good. And if Warner Brothers is holding out for word of mouth, well, the sold-out fan IMAX screening I was in yesterday was dead silent when the movie ended. Joker 2 comes off as if it's apologetic for its predecessor. It's almost a troll. And for all I know, it is. Now, if it's Todd Phillips trolling Warner Brothers, respect. I can see him telling Warner Brothers, I don't want to do a sequel unless you give me a $200 million budget and I'm going to make it a musical. You're giving me the money? Of course the Access media is spinning it's a troll of the audience. Well, if that's the case, bold move, Warner Brothers, trolling the people who supported the Joker while the Access media was attacking you. Ultimately, it's just a bad movie, and I think it's probably because Todd Phillips had never planned to make it, but was given so much money he couldn't say no. But keep in mind, if you decide to watch it, there's a very good chance that it will completely ruin the original for you. Just chalk this up as another lesson Hollywood won't learn. No, we don't need a sequel or a prequel to everything. We do not need an origin to every hero or villain. We do not need to know the time and place Martha and Thomas Wayne conceived Bruce. Unfortunately, The Joker 2 made the Joker into the story we were concerned about in the first place. A nihilistic, pointless, and meaningless peripheral Batman story set in the world of Batman without Batman.
Nerdrotic.com.
If you like what you heard, please like, share, and subscribe. If you didn't like what you heard, I thank you for listening this long. I will see you in the next video.